Very good, happy Tuesday morning to everyone out there. Landon here in the driver's seat with you, bringing you your latest weather or not forecast, courtesy of On Target. Had a very active pattern that kicked off there yesterday, folks, with copious amounts of rainfall being reported across the region. We received reports of anywhere between 1, upwards of 3 to even 4 inches in some instances, with numerous flood advisories and flood warnings that were issued throughout the afternoon and on into the evening hours as well. You can see, looking out there early this morning, we have got a stationary front that is located just north of the region, right along the Ohio River. And what we're going to be watching and seeing is these continuous rounds of showers and storms working up in here out of the south and west. You can see the motion that we currently have a few showers that's residing there across western Tennessee, trying to work up into our vicinity. It looks like the peak time frame for us to get in on the activity throughout today will be this afternoon onto this evening. But focus is on tomorrow, folks, because we got a passing cold front that's going to be bringing likely shower and storm chances, some of which could become severe here across the region. It is warm and it is muggy out there across the area. We're looking at temperatures and dew points hanging out on either side of the 70-degree mark. We're going to keep it extremely warm and soupy out there. The rainforest feel is going to hang around in the great outdoors. And with the moisture increasing out there, folks, we have already seen the cloud cover that has stayed strong out there. WRUS camera overlooking Russellville, showcasing the cloud cover that's got a socked in down in that direction. Same can be said overlooking Barren River Lake with a similar setup and scenario over in that direction as well. Let's jump over here and let's talk about what we have in store for us, because we have got plenty to talk about, that is for sure. First and foremost, let's take a look at the primary view here of our big picture. We've got this developing low pressure system off to our west. It's going to be ejecting off to the north and east towards the Midwest region. And you're going to see here, folks, as we work into the latter part of our Wednesday into our Wednesday night is going to be our focus for the potential for strong and severe thunderstorms. You can see the setup here. We've got this low pressure system that's deepening, cold front that's going to be blasting down to the south and east. And folks, we're going to have very strong southwesterly winds. It's really going to pump up our temperatures out there. Whenever this occurs, we're going to be looking at heat indices that could be potentially well up into the 90s before the cold front passes. But right now, we're looking at a late afternoon, potentially even into the overnight passing of the strongest and severe storms that will be impacting the area. So here is our big picture view. Now let's break down the parameters here. Let's get a look at the closer up view here. The simulated radar first and foremost as we work throughout today. Got the moisture plume that's going to return with the rise of peak heating. It's going to jolt up our instability out there, and from roughly lunchtime on, or from mid-morning on, we're going to have the developing cells, robust cells here, and these are going to crawl off to the north and the east, all right? Here we are working into the lunchtime hour, then we work into the afternoon, into the peak heating, and you can see the scattered storm chances become maximized across the WABBLES vicinity and beyond. We're not looking at any sorts of severe threats today. We might have a few gusty winds that come out of these storms, but localized flooding could be realized yet again with saturated soils across much of the viewing area. You will know with the loss of daytime heating, we will be working throughout the overnight, and we're going to have the activity simmer back down across the region. And then we open up the door to our Wednesday, folks, and it looks like we're going to be keeping some showers and storms meandering around in the morning, and then we're going to get a lull of drier weather that's going to reside here from roughly mid-morning on. We're going to work into the late afternoon hours. Look at all this developing here across over to our west, across eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and Indiana. And then that line of storms is going to surge down to the south and east. This is what's going to be bringing our peak strong and severe storm threat at some point in time between the late afternoon and then potentially even throughout the overnight, the latter part of the evening, rolling into the pre-dawn hours of Thursday morning. This line will be in somewhat of a weakening state by the time it gets here, but could definitely still be packing a punch. We'll have a variety of severe weather threats, primarily with damaging winds And lower on the scale will be perhaps a few instances of large hail, maybe an isolated tornado spin up, but without question, damaging winds and flooding concerns will be the primary threats coming along with this. You can see with the lingering rain showers will be sticking around throughout our Thursday morning with a little bit of moisture lingering right along and behind the cold front. And then with any luck, folks, by the time we roll into lunchtime and early afternoon hours on Thursday, we're really going to dry up out there. Now, the good news is we'll be getting rid of the active pattern. But folks, what's going to follow Friday throughout the weekend is going to be a healthy dose of summer-like weather. We're going to have southwesterly winds. It's going to be building in here thanks to a mid and upper level ridge. It's going to build in out of the southeast U.S. We're going to be pumping real-time readings on the thermometers between roughly 90 and 95 degrees Friday all the way through the weekend, all right? Getting a little bit of a closer view here, what we're going to be dealing with. We mentioned damaging winds and flooding remains our primary concerns. Look at the precipitable water values that continue to reside across the region as we once again work into this afternoon. Look at these readings. They're similar to yesterday. 2.25 inches. That is insane for the amount of precipitable water that'll be available within the atmosphere. The soundings we've looked at, similar to yesterday as well. Any storms that develop will be able to be very efficient rain producers. That's going to be coming along with this. And you can see our moist air mass sticks around all the way through today, all the way through our Wednesday, before the cold front finally works through here late into our Wednesday evening. And you can see back here the drier air that's finally going to work in here along and behind that cold front, all right? Taking a look here, I want to showcase what's going to take place with these temperatures because it is rather impressive. Today is not going to be too bad. It's going to be extraordinarily humid, but we're going to be looking at highs in the heat indices right around the 80 to 85 degree mark. But folks, take a look at Wednesday. Those strong southwesterly winds coming up in here ahead of that cold front. Look at these heat indices during the peak heating of Wednesday afternoon. If you're going to be outdoors, folks, be well aware of this. We could be looking at heat indices hitting the mid, perhaps even the upper 90s as we work throughout our Wednesday afternoon and on into our Wednesday evening, all right? We can jump over here and we can showcase for you what we're watching in terms of our potential severe weather threat. On Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center's got a 2 out of 5 risk outlined for the vast majority of us here across the WABBLES community. Large hail, damaging winds, a few tornadoes will be possible. Primary concerns will be damaging winds with this. Secondary threat, as previously mentioned a little bit earlier, just a short time ago, will be a few instances of large hail, maybe an isolated tornado spin up, all right? Again, late afternoon all the way through the early pre-dawn hours of Thursday is what we're going to be looking at as far as timing. For our peak severe weather threat, getting back towards today, folks, we're going to be looking at more of a flooding concern that will continue to reside across the region. Another couple of inches of rainfall here over the next 48 to 72 hours before we get this active pattern out of here. It can't be rolled out. Just going to be rubbing salt into the wound, folks, with all of the rainfall that we received out there yesterday. Again, we received anywhere from 1 to 4+ inches of rainfall. The highest tally is over there off to the north and west for portions of Warren, Butler, and Edmonson County. Here's a full breakdown of your next 6-day weather forecast, and we have got a very active pattern today. Rolling into our Wednesday, widespread showers and storms. We'll get a break there Wednesday morning, but strong and severe threat late Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. Lingering rain showers early Thursday morning will get out of here, and then the heat is on. We're going to be looking at roughly 90 to 95 degree readings Friday all the way through the weekend underneath rays of sunshine. It's going to be extraordinarily humid as well. Could be looking at some heat indices potentially making a run at the 100 degree mark. That remains to be seen, but we will definitely be keeping close eyes on that. Friends, it's going to wrap up your Tuesday morning Whether or Not forecast presented by On Target. You all take care of yourselves and each other. Have a fantastic